You don't belong with the giants, my father bellowed, his voice echoing off the weathered beams of the lobster shack. At 68, he stood like a lighthouse among his dockworker friends, his words a public verdict that cut deeper than the icy Atlantic gusts outside. The laughter that followed was a bitter wind, each snicker a reminder that I, Lena Voss, was a footnote in his tale. At 40, a newly promoted Coast Guard captain, my hands still carried the grit of rescue missions in storm-tossed seas, but to him, I was the daughter who never shone bright enough. In that packed shack in Rockport, Maine, he didn't know, none of them did, that his dismissal was about to capsize and the truth I'd earned would flood the room with light. I hadn't set foot in Rockport in a decade. The Coast Guard had shaped me, pulling me into churning waters to save lives while waves roared. My father's salt-stained cottage hadn't changed. Same creaky dock, same iron buoy bell, same heavy quiet that clung to every corner. He sat carving a driftwood gull, his fingers steady as the tides. I asked about his retirement party, hoping for a flicker of warmth. Only the big names get a chair, Lena, he said, eyes on his knife. Not you. The words stung like salt in a cut, as familiar as my childhood. I nodded, Roger that, and left a gift, a braided rope bracelet my mother once wore, before slipping out. I wouldn't linger to be diminished again. My mother, Nora, was my harbor. She passed when I was 17, her spirit worn thin by years of my father's weight. Before she left, she gave me a scratched compass, its needle steady. Don't let him shrink you, she whispered, her voice a lifeline. I clung to that. My father's pride was reserved for my brother, Caleb, the architect whose city designs were his dockside boasts. At dinner, he'd recount Caleb's skyscrapers while my mother quietly passed me the warmest bread, her glance saying, "You're enough." At 21, I joined the Coast Guard, diving into storms to pull sailors from death's grip. Hold on, I'd whisper to a man caught in a riptide, my arms burning as I swam. Those moments made me a leader. But in Rockport, I was just Jonas Voss's girl, the one who went off to chase waves. The lobster shack buzzed that night, the air thick with butter and briny steam. My dress uniform gleamed, every pin polished, my boots catching the flicker of net-wrapped lanterns. I meant to drop my donation and vanish, but my father stepped forward, his grin sharp for the crowd. Only the big names get a chair, not you, he said, voice booming. The room hushed, forks pausing, eyes averted. My fingers found the compass in my pocket, its weight steadying me. I turned to leave. Then a voice sliced through. Captain Voss over here. Admiral Claire Thornton, her uniform blazing with 2 stars, stood at the door. Her presence stilled the shack like a calmed sea. She took my arm, leading me to a makeshift stage. Murmurs spread. My father's jaw tightened. Thornton's voice rang out. We honor Captain Lena Voss tonight. The title hit like a breaker. A weathered sailor tapped his mug. Thunk, thunk, a quiet nod. My father scoffed to his mates. She's just riding waves. No one laughed. The tide had turned. Thornton spoke again, unveiling the Nora Voss Fund for coastal kids to chase dreams. My mother's name lit the room, her photo glowing beside a flickering lamp. Caleb leapt up, voice sharp. This is Dad's night, Lena, not yours. Whispers stirred, some siding with him, others watching me. I gripped my compass, breath steady. Thornton's stare silenced Caleb, her authority a wall. The room fractured, some clung to my father's tail, others leaned into the truth now breaking free. The ceremony surged forward. My father was called to pin my captain's bars. His hands shook as he fastened the silver anchor, muttering, "Didn't expect this." The shack roared with applause, a wave crashing over me. I stood silent. The truth spoke for me. Later, he pulled me aside, voice low. Let's snap a photo, show we're solid. I held his gaze.
No.
Let tonight stand. He stilled, small for the first time. Caleb stormed out, wordless. At dawn, I knelt at my mother's grave, the ocean's pulse steady. I left her compass by her stone, whispering. I didn't shrink. Driving from Rockport, the harbor sparkled under sunrise, gulls soaring free. Revenge wasn't loud. It was owning my story, stepping beyond his shadow, and letting the truth sail.